What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Save Point Podcast, Episode 3. I am Alex, and of course, I am always joined by my co-host over there, Sway, and his Twitter is always in the description if you guys want to check him out. He crushes the Twitter side of things. We both do the YouTube side of things now, and we're here. The main topic here is going to be talking about Christmas memories when it came to gaming. So last week, we talked about, Christmas games, which actually I feel like we brought about a movement because I'm seeing a lot of people talking about it on Twitter. I'm just kidding. But we've seen this Christmas kind of movement of people talking about that. But we want to talk about specifically waking up under the Christmas tree, the presents, and some of those gaming memories. And we'll also talk a little bit about other things. But firstly, Sway, how are you? And what have you been playing?
So I'm doing pretty good, and what I've been playing is actually a mixture of things. This week I was going to be getting down on Callisto Protocol this weekend, and
Yes.
It did not happen because of the Street Fighter beta.
Yes.
So that was my weekend, and then after that, I had a couple of friends that recently just wanted to start up and play some Switch golf, since they added golf to Switch Sports.
Nice.
So we played that, and it was that's a good time. And I did dabble a little bit in some Animal Crossing just to see what they had updated, and then Halo. So those has been the things. And then last night I actually did play some Callisto Protocol. Got a little bit further. Still loving it.
Yeah.
Dodging is much easier with the update.
So I didn't even know. I saw later in the day yesterday about those updates to Callisto, and I'm kind of jealous because especially one that I think went under the radar, but the healing. You heal so much. You kneel faster. You insert it faster. You push it faster. Everything is just so much. Whereas, man, when the game first came out, it was so slow.
It was brutal.
But with that being said, what do you going off on a tangent? It's tough because I didn't think Callisto was when I was playing it. The difficulty was definitely a topic of people on both sides. I kind of liked the difficulty. I thought it kind of gave it something special. And so where do you kind of stand on updates that make it too easy? Now again, this is coming from I didn't think it was at times. I thought it was very unfair when the game came out, but I thought it was unfair because of locking on enemies, and sometimes enemies would let you single out one. You know what I mean? Sometimes there will be two enemies that pop up. You'll attack one, and the other one will literally just let you do it. But other times that enemy will attack you from a diagonal corner, and you can't dodge.
Yep.
That's what I always found unfair about the game. Now they're adding these things of, I think, faster weapon switching, which I never loved the speed of the weapon switching, but I didn't actually think it made the game harder. I just thought it made it a little bit more annoying. And then the health. So, what do you feel about that whole discussion of was it too hard? Did they make it too easy? That kind of stuff. Because did you play it during both eras technically now then?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Both eras. I got it day one, played it day one, played it a few times throughout the week. Didn't gain that much
ground
in terms of ground
in
playing it that first week. But I just got to the midway point, I think you said last night.
Yeah.
So definitely it does feel a tad bit easier. I think that unfortunately for them, they're in a rock and a hard place because a lot of those unfair moments, which I did notice at least as much, did not happen as much last night to me.
Yeah.
They're still there, but I didn't feel like I was having too many unfair situations in the encounters that I did have.
Yeah.
However, that does come at the cost of difficulty.
Yeah.
And so that was the only thing that I think that they probably had to juggle with, balancing the unfair with the difficulty. There is still some difficult elements to the game still.
Yeah.
But you can tell that it definitely feels a lot easier to deal with.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, and I always look at it, or at least in this case I look at it, that I feel like there had to have been enough outright. Like that Glenn, the guy who runs the studio, he seems like he could be a mafia leader. I really like his kind of personality, but he comes across to me as a guy that, and I remember people were spreading around at the interview he did with, he did some sort of YouTube thing where he read questions and answered, and he talked about the difficulty in that interview where he said it's going to be hard. We made a hard game. And so I for this specific game, I look at it from the angle that I feel like they probably got a lot of complaints because I don't think they would have done stuff like this unless they really
Mhm.
thought they're. So, while I'm not a huge fan of like nuking whether it was too hard or not, I understand it from this point of view because I imagine someone like him, especially someone like him, you have to imagine they got a lot of complaints or they saw a lot of data and they're like, people are not making it far in this game. Because I do think the game
Yeah.
sold well, but I don't, they see everything. They see what's the percentage of people that gets to level chapter 3, chapter 5, like, and if they are seeing a huge, then you can blame the game, the story, but maybe you're saying, well, maybe it's too hard. Maybe that's what's stopping people.
I'll pay attention to ever since Call of Duty. There was a Call of Duty that did not have a campaign one year,
Yes, yes,
and I think that the data that they took was something that we could all see, which was the trophies,
yeah,
and not that many people had completed the campaign the year before that Call of Duty release, so
yes,
they decided to not do one.
yeah,
I don't know what the percentage on the trophy for finishing Callisto's story is.
yeah,
But I could imagine that, like you're saying, they're seeing data that's indicating that a lot of people aren't getting far. I never thought the game was too difficult. I just thought it was kind of unfair in a lot of
yeah,
situations.
yeah,
But I can see if there is like enough people that kind of stick around for the long haul and say like, hey, can you like tweak some things, make it a little bit more difficult? I do believe that over time they'll patch it as like casual players probably drop it after beating it
yeah,
just
yeah,
to kind of alleviate that. But I am very much one of those people who are side with games if they're developed to be difficult or a challenge,
right,
then they are. There's different strokes for different folks, but
right,
making games for everyone will only please no one at the end
yeah,
of the day.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I'm totally with you.
uh, yeah, so
The
genres
idea of
for a
making
reason.
games for everyone, all you need is one game. All you need is just a bunch of different games for a specific people, and then you do have games for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But people get that,
Exactly.
I think, backwards, where they think one game needs to be for everyone instead of there can
Everyone.
just be multiple. There should be multiple of all
Mm-hmm.
different things, and that's really what the like diversity or just having that wide net. That's all you need. So yeah, I'm with you there, and that's the thing with Callisto is I don't. I'm with you. Like for difficulty, I don't think like it's not a From Software kind of game, but it does have very
Right.
unfair moments. There's a
Yeah.
time early on, I think it was actually when I live streamed it's within the first 2 hours, where when you're in the room just with all the blades that are going around, and there's like a wave of enemies, the door's locked, and you have to kill them all. And if you like clip the blade, like there's the one like when you walk through like at a sports game and you go through like the bar thing that like spins or whatever. It's like there's like that thing Callisto, and you can like just slip by the blade and it'll kill you. It'll rip you and it'll rip you apart. It's like it's so unfair because it's like the detection box is just a little bit off, and it makes it
Yep.
very hard where I didn't even want to move. Like in that, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but in that zone, I kind of just like stood in one spot and just picked them up and threw them against things, and I didn't move because if
That's
I moved, I figured I'd hit something.
anytime I've ever seen blades so far, I pick them up and just throw them
Yeah,
because of that reason.
yeah,
There was one room in particular. I think we might be talking about the same room where you're trapped in there and there's like two blades in front of the door, like one on each side, and then
yeah,
there's like
yes,
some on the walls too.
yep,
And it's like I would not move anywhere. I'm like just picking them up, tossing them. When
yeah,
I ran out of battery, then I would have to deal with them.
yeah,
But that's pretty much what I was doing, and I'm like, I just you can't move anywhere.
same. Yeah, that's what I was doing as well. So, well, that's good. That's your collection of things. What are you planning on playing over the next week?
Man, I'm going to double down and finish Callisto Protocol. Then I have to get back into Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Yeah, I missed that game. I'll talk about,
Yes, I
I'll
do.
let you go and I'll say but I missed that game a lot because I haven't played it in a while either.
Yeah, I have not played it since last week, and it's killing me because I'll be like, even at work, like normally I'll play it there when I'm at work, but there's been no downtime at all this week.
Yeah,
So I'm like, it's the odd man out right now, but I missed that game terribly. Like,
same, same. Yeah, I beat Crisis Core last night when we're recording this, so I just rolled credits. I feel proud, and I played on normal. I know you have to grind quite heavily if you play it on hard. I thought you had to grind if you played it on normal, and so I did, and I do believe I was over leveled for the last like 3-4 chapters of the game. There's 10 in all, so I think from like chapter 6, I was kind of just like coasting. In the main story, when I was doing the side stuff, that's actually the side missions that you can do. Those were the harder things because I was trying to like level up through them, so they were the tougher ones. But then once you fight, I won't spoil it. You fight certain very powerful bosses. Kind of just use my magic, stayed at a distance, just fired it away, and I handled it very well. I would say I handled it. Because I kind of get like PTSD because I'm not really great with these. Like I love Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I wasn't good with it. I'm not good with games that require without telling you, but require grinding to level up. I don't like get the hint. So I'll go in and I'll be under leveled and I'll be like, oh, the game probably wanted me to not be this level right now. Even Kingdom Hearts to an extent. Kingdom Hearts was always the easier of the two, even though Kingdom Hearts 1 was impossible as a child for me, and even 2 to some degree. But I kind of coasted through Crisis, and I actually made it a little bit nicer because I thought it was going to be a lot harder. But yeah, and like you said, like because of that, I haven't gone. I played first 2 hours of High on Life. I haven't gone back. I really want to, and I'm probably going to tonight. And then Midnight Suns, like every day, and that's the quality of I think of a great game. And I showed you, before we recorded, I got my 39 games ranked thing. Midnight Suns is high. It's high on that list, and I think that shows how good it is. I miss it every day. I think about, I really want to split myself in half to play Midnight Suns as well.
Yeah, Midnight Suns is like you said, that's a testament to how good the game is.
Yeah.
And I think that it's definitely, like we were talking about before, one of those things where it's different strokes for different folks. They made a game for a specific genre.
Yeah.
Of course, there's going to be people always when it comes, especially turn-based, where it's like, oh, I wish this wasn't a turn-based, but
Yeah.
how often does Marvel or DC or anybody really give
Or
this
how
genre
often
any
do you get
love?
these games in general? There's only a few
Yeah,
studios that can do it,
yeah. So it's just seeing it done correctly, seeing it done with so much care, um, and things that I expected to hate, I love.
Yeah.
Um, it's just probably the biggest surprise for me in 2022 as
I
far
think
as
so.
gaming go.
Same.
And I was expecting it to be good out the gate, but like it's surpassed even that expectation
Yeah.
for me.
Well, it's like you said, it really is the stuff that I didn't think was going to be that good.
Yep.
And even, well, I guess even across the board, like I knew I was always very strong on I like the card thing. I don't think it's going to be, people really cringed at it. And I get it. Because you can do those card things really bad. I totally understand that. But I was always on the side, and the card thing is like miles away, insanely good. Like it's the best part of the game. Once I beat a battle, I wish that you actually didn't have to do the miscellaneous stuff because I just wanted to do it. But the other stuff is also good. And that's also what I didn't really think that was going to happen. I thought, okay, the combat will be, pretty solid and I'll want to just keep doing it. And I do. Like there are some times where I do want to skip the other stuff, not because it's bad, but because the combat's just so addicting and I just want to level people up and try different things. I just want to just keep going. It's insane. It really is shocking. If we were to do, maybe next week we can that can be part of it, like the most surprising or a collection of surprising games. Midnight Suns is the game. It just is.
Yes, it is number one.
Yeah.
Checks a lot of boxes that I didn't
It
expect
does.
to check.
For sure. Well, the main topic here was, you wake up on Christmas Day, and we're not old, but we're not, children anymore. But what, I'll let you kind of start it. So do you have any memories of receiving games or playing games on Christmas?
So, not all of them, but some I actually have here.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So we're gonna start from when I was younger. Got these two bad boys for Christmas.
Oh my God.
Pokemon Yellow and WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah.
And then, so in no particular order, I'm gonna show you this one first because I know that you're gonna appreciate this one.
I will appreciate that one. Was now that wasn't the same year, right? We're jumping through
No,
time.
yeah, we're jumping through. Yeah, that's no particular order
Oh
here.
my god.
Um, Probably my favorite game that I got for Christmas.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh my god, you got it for I got that for my
Yep.
birthday. So we both have a special thing for that. Did you get
Yep.
it that year or the year it released?
The year it released. Yep.
Okay. Sweet.
And then Star
Oh my,
Wars was
oh
also
my.
another
Look at these
Christmas one.
classics. I own that too. I think I have that on Xbox.
Teen Titans.
Yes.
Yep, that was a
Classic.
Christmas one. Spider-Man Friend or Foe was a classic. I mean, yep, I ain't gonna say classic, but it was a Christmas gift. And then last but not least, these two.
Oh my
I
god.
love my
Yes.
Nickelodeon games. Absolutely loved them.
Yes.
So those were just some of the
So
ones that I got for Christmas, but
now were you
ones that I
expecting all
all have
those?
memories with.
Were you expecting them those years? Or were they
Um,
surprises?
I'm not gonna say expecting. So
Or did you ask for them?
I asked for them.
Yeah.
I think the only one that they all were on my Christmas list. However, I think I only expected two of them out of these, and that was the Kingdom of Hearts, and the Spider-Man one, because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Like out of all comic books, Nightwing and Spider-Man are probably my two strongest characters as far as like
Nice.
knowledge goes.
Yeah.
So anything Spider-Man I would normally get probably when it came out if I asked for it.
Yeah.
But for Christmas, that was one that I didn't have yet.
Nice. And did you were any of those, do you remember if they were combined? Like, did you get any in the same year that you remember? Or did you play any on Christmas? Like, do you remember, like,
Oh, I played them all on Christmas.
Okay. Okay.
These I don't none of these I got in the same year. However, I want to say that between these two,
Yeah.
I got this one Christmas and I got this one the Christmas after.
Oh, no, yeah.
So
I don't.
these were like the close in continuation.
I remember those. See, I don't know. Like, I feel like I've played them. I totally remember both those box covers, the art, but I don't know if I owned them. And man, yeah, that's tough. See, for me, and I actually have them, and I didn't bring them out. I was thinking about it. So for me, I have two stories. One of which I've said before in a different video. It's kind of Christmas because it's PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, and that
Love
one I
that
got
game.
for Christmas. But I think what made that one special is that I wanted it so badly. I wasn't a child to sneak a look at gifts. I never did that, and I never asked for things early, ever, except one year, and it was that year for PlayStation. So my cousin came over. My family had Thanksgiving, so they would come for us for Thanksgiving. A bunch of the family members, and we were both into PlayStation or both into just gaming. And PlayStation All Stars had come out, and my dad got it for me for Christmas. But my cousin and I, were so into it, and it was the only time I asked. I was like, "Can we just today? Can you give it to me? I'll open it, we'll play it, and I'll give it back, and I won't touch it for another month until Christmas." And he agreed, and so I played it. What's funny about it is that's the story. I don't even think I played it on Christmas when I actually then officially got it. But the only Christmas, see, like for Kingdom Hearts, I got it for my birthday. I have a cool story with that one, but that's a birthday thing. For me, it was a little bit newer gen, and it was the PS3 era. So I jumped into PS3 late. I got it June of 2009, and I got like MotorStorm, Resistance 1, Prototype was the game I got it for. Prototype will always be very special to me because it literally was the game I wanted to play PS3 for. So I got all that, and then that Christmas, so Christmas of 2009, I pretty much only asked for games. There's budgets with parents and stuff, and I know that actually quite well. But I only got PS3 games, and then maybe very few. But like that year, I was limited to maybe like 8 gifts, 6 of which were just games. So there was like a little stack, and I just got them all. And I think maybe maybe I got a gaming chair. You know those like rocking things that sit on the floor and they have like the plugs so you
I
can plug.
also have one of those for
Yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
one year.
I got it. I loved it. I never used it for the speaker parts of it. Never did that.
Yep.
And I actually think I broke it at some because I would just use it for everything. I would I'd lean on it backwards and eventually I broke it. But so I think I got that because then on Christmas Day and then after Christmas, I would sit on that and I had a rotation. So it's probably the wrong thing to do because nowadays I've learned you got to play a game and you got to beat it from start to finish before you start another game. Otherwise,
Yes.
you're going to.
You'll
And
never
I've
get to it.
learned that. But back in '09, I didn't know that. And the only game I remember for sure was Uncharted 1. I know I got Uncharted 1 Christmas of '09 that day, and I played it Christmas of '09 that day. But I also got 5 others, and I don't actually remember what they were. Maybe Infamous. I think Infamous. But I had a stack of them, and I remember it was 6 games, and I would put it next to my chair, and then every day I would take the top one, insert it, put it to the bottom, take the next one, and I would just do that, and I would rotate all 6 until I beat one, and then I would take it out of rotation. And that really, I remember getting a Pokemon game. I think I got a Game Boy for Christmas, but I was so young. And my sister got a game, and she's 3 years younger, and she got, I think, the same year. But really, besides that, like '09 for PS3, I'm sure I got games for like 10, 11, 12, but then I don't remember. Because I wasn't really like the thing that's odd about me covering as many games as I do is I really didn't play a lot of games like Crash Team Racing. I played growing up, Crash Bash, but I didn't get those for Christmas. I didn't get Kingdom Hearts 2, one of my favorite games of all time. Like when I think about my all-time faves, I really didn't get them for Christmas. If anything, maybe my birthday. I think I got Red Dead for my birthday once. Like, yeah, it's actually a little odd.
Yeah, most of my favorite games of all time did not come for Christmas.
Yeah.
Besides Kingdom Hearts, which
I
is
mean,
definitely up
waking
there.
up to that is just special.
Yes. I remember playing it on Christmas and it was I had to put like 5 hours until I got stuck at it. There was a point where I got stuck and I didn't touch it for like 2 days out of frustration, and then I went back. But yeah, and then other memories that I have normally honestly center around fighting games because I have 3 brothers
Yeah.
and we were all raised on video games. So I think I'm the youngest member in my family that like knew what they were doing when
Yeah.
playing a video game, like as far as learning. So like a tradition for us is between me and my brother Jay Sean, we'll play Smash Brothers every year. And we'll do like
Oh yeah.
like a little mini tournament in there, and
That's
then like
sweet.
we have this whole book and like all the characters in the tournament and how many times each character won or how many times his real. So we did a whole thing with it, and then like all my brothers will sit down and play some Mortal Kombat. It's just the easy game that everybody knows how to play. Now all they play is Call of Duty, obviously.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah.
they're the casual gamer. But whenever they come over, yeah, like every year we'll switch it up. We've done Injustice, we've done Mortal Kombat versus DC.
Nice.
Mostly it's Smash Brothers for
So
me and my brother
you
Jay, but
have
like
gaming
all of it.
traditions that you do around
Yep.
Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
Yep.
and now that I think about it, the PS Vita was around. So I feel like my story with Vita, I bought it myself, and I don't remember what year it was even around, but I think I bought. I'm pretty sure because I got money, like you do, from some relatives, you get money. And I feel like I bought the Vita like 2 days after Christmas in a whatever year.
Nice.
Because I remember playing. There's a Call of Duty game that came out on Vita, and it wasn't good, but I did buy it, or I think the Vita maybe came with it, because I think I got the bundle with it. Because I remember playing that on New Year's Eve. I remember going to my grandmother's house to show the same cousin. I would show my cousin that I got the Vita, and it definitely was between Christmas and New Year. So I think now that I think about it a little bit more, I do think the Vita, it wasn't a Christmas gift. Well, technically, because I used the Christmas money to buy it. So I do think that happened like literally a day or two. It was GameStop. I remember walking to GameStop. And I got the PS Vita, as so many people didn't do. People didn't get the PS Vita, and they ruined it for us all. But
They did.
man,
I have a similar
the
story
Pirates
with
one is sweet. See, I played
yes,
Pirates, but I rented it because the thing with that game is I don't know if you remember that game much. That game
not
I
much.
love it, but it's so short. So I
Yes.
rented that game once I and it could have been around at World's End, which was '07. I rented it because and I rented it with the idea that I was thinking about buying it, but I wanted to rent it first. And like no joke, and maybe it's because I was younger, I didn't think it through. So I wanted to rent it, try it out, and then if I liked it, I'd buy it. But I feel like the game was maybe 4 hours long. I'd have to check how long to
Mhm.
beat. I
It
beat
was a
it.
very short
I beat it
game.
in one day. So I rented it. I popped it in, and I literally didn't get up. Not even like I was hellbound to beat it, or like have
It
a
just happened.
marathon. I just did it, and I was like, oh, I'm done. So now I don't need to buy it. I did like it, but it's like, oh, I was considering buying it. Well, there's no way I'm gonna buy it now because I literally beat it in one sitting. I didn't stand up. But I mean, Pirates is my favorite like movie franchise, so I'll always have. And the PSP, see, I got it. I did not get on. I didn't even own a PSP actually. Funny story with that, but I think I don't know. Was a PS? It had to have been PS3, but then it wouldn't have been '07. It would have been '09. I maybe rented it years later. Then I think that's what probably happened. But I never did on PSP.
I have a similar story with the PlayStation VR because I also bought that in between.
Oh my god.
I bought that. Yeah, I got Christmas money from a few relatives
Yeah.
and my parents, and like I'm sitting there like, no, if I put like an extra 100 out of my own money with this, I could. So I'm like calling around to like different places, and this would have been the year that the VR came out actually,
Okay. Yeah.
and I'm like calling different places everywhere it's sold out. And then there was this Target
Yeah.
about I'd say 30 minutes out. I had them hold it. I drove over there. I got it. And PS Vita. I mean, no,
Well,
not Vita, VR.
yeah. Oh man. I I got it. I didn't get it for Christmas. I think I got it in October. I don't remember when it came out because I didn't get it launch day, but I think I got it like 1 month after it came out. But you know what? I didn't actually pre-order. I don't know if you did. We never talked about it. I never pre-ordered the PSVR 2. I haven't done it yet.
No, I didn't either.
I don't know how
I have
like
not.
I want it. I want it, but it's just been a very expensive year and the economy is not doing
Yes.
so great and I don't know if I want if I want to spend what is it is it 400? I don't even remember the price.
It's more than the PlayStation
Okay. Oh, so it's
itself.
more, oh my god. If it's 400, 450, I don't actually even remember right now, but I don't want to spend the money on it. I know that. But like Horizon
I
looks
don't
so
either.
good. And
So
they're
good.
gonna and I want to make a video on this because I know it's gonna happen. They're gonna make a Spider-Man thing for it. They just have
Hmm.
to. Because you don't
They did
do
it
a
for the VR1.
Horizon like thing to then not do a Spider-Man 2 companion thing. You're gonna do it.
Yep.
And that would sell. And so to get it before that is probably ideal. you know.
They did. They tried to do a little something for the.
The
There was like a mini game that you
Yeah,
could
well,
play
yeah, there
for
was
the
it
movie
was
that
a
came
first
out.
person where you could like swing through the city kind of thing. Back with that,
It was
yeah, I
horrible.
remember that. But this one I think will be like the Horizon game that they're doing. I think it'll be like
Yep.
that for Spider-Man, and that should do really. I mean, that's all I said that back during that era. Just make an Uncharted thing because at the time, make Uncharted a small 2-hour thing, but original. Don't make but just do it for every franchise. God of War. Just do it. Like, why aren't you not
It'll
doing
make it
it?
worth it.
And now they're, Horizon is a good step in the right direction. I mean, they would be so idiotic to not do a Spider-Man thing.
They would be. You're leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
Right then and there.
Well, they know it's a system
Uh,
seller, and I mean, who doesn't want to at least try it on VR? So I mean, and doing it around Spider-Man 2's time, just makes a lot of sense. I don't know, but Sony's trying to do so many different things at once. Maybe it does honestly slip, when you're trying to do mobile, live service, single player, and then you also throw in VR. I mean, that is a lot. That's a lot you have
a
to be
lot.
doing.
I think that for the most part, like there was one game. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's but there was a demo game
Yes.
called
Worlds?
the Heist.
Oh,
Yeah, in
yeah.
Worlds, and it was like the Heist, and there was a game that they made like a fuller version of that game. It was called something in Blood.
So,
But it
was
was exact.
was it a
Oh, keep going.
shooter?
it was a shooter, but it played exactly like the heist game from the demo.
Oh my,
Like
yeah,
exactly like it.
I know what you're talking about.
I love that game. That was probably my favorite VR game for the VR.
Yeah,
But like getting the VR 2, I think that might be, if they made a second part to that, like even
yeah.
more in depth, I think that would be what would probably drive me to get a VR 2. But like next year, I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's a very expensive year for me because I
Oh
like
my,
collector's
yeah.
editions.
I mean,
And then
not
there's a lot of
only
games.
is it, the 400 or whatever it is that I honestly can't remember right now, but also, well, then you need the games.
Yep.
Also, we've just had the year we've had as people, both like getting games,
Yep.
also as a nation. And then also you look at next year. Well, number one, I don't think things are going to get better. And number
Nope.
two, from a gaming perspective, it's actually worse. There's so many games. And doesn't it come out like February 22nd or something? So it comes out
Yep.
a week and a half after Hogwarts. Like, are they trying to kill me? I can't do that.
Yeah.
you know?
I'm spending 300 on Hogwarts by itself. So I'm like,
Okay, I don't know if that I'm gonna question your I don't
that
know if that
collector's
was the right
edition.
move there. You'll have to show me the wand.
Oh,
Once
I'll
you get it,
definitely
we'll have
show
to
it
do a
on.
thing on it.
I So is it worth the money?
No,
That collector's edition specific? No.
it's not.
As I started, like, I it was something I pre-ordered
Yeah,
just in case I want to change my mind. And what actually changed my mind was the first video of Expecto Ghost that I watched,
yeah.
where he was talking about whose wand that could be.
Oh, okay.
And if it's truly Merlin's wand,
Yeah,
that would be worth it for me because it's not one out there.
yeah, yeah.
And so
The wand itself is
that would be worth it.
definitely the wand is the coolest. If there's three
Thing.
parts to
Yeah.
it, and there's the wand, the floating, spinningness, and then there's the book. The wand would
Look.
be the most impressive. Then the
Yes.
levitation, I think, would be the book. The book is tough because I think like when it's closed, the book is fine, but when it open, like there are no pages, they're not like
Nope.
it's very
It's
pathetic.
just
The
a
book,
painted on map.
yeah,
Yeah.
the book looks like a $5 thing. So
Yeah.
they must have put all the money towards the magnet to to keep it floating.
That
I don't know. I was
So,
very
yeah.
hard on it, and I'm not going to apologize
Oh, no, yeah,
because you
it
just
definitely
see all
deserves
the
it.
better. Is there what did I just see? Maybe not Final
The God of
Fantasy.
War Collector's Edition. I mean,
Oh,
look
the
at
God of yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like
There was
there's been
one from I think Square Enix or something that I saw on a website like 2 weeks ago. Is it Final Fantasy? Is it Final Fantasy 16? I saw one and it's like $150 or $200. So 100 less at least, and it's miles better than it. Miles.
Yep.
So it is one of the weakest collector's editions I've ever seen in my life, to be honest.
Much agreed. Much agreed. That is half of that is the Harry Potter fan in me,
Yeah, yeah.
and then the other half of that is just like I like that wand.
Yeah. Well, and it is. I mean, they're like, and then on the other side of things, like it is cool to have those things. And I'm not really
Yeah.
much of a maybe I shouldn't even be talking. I'm not really a collector. Like the most advanced thing is I got the most advanced Uncharted 4 one when it came out. So like the steel book and all that. Like I have that.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. Like I think I got a collector's edition of Life is Strange that came with the soundtrack back when it released physically because it was only digital at first. But I really don't have like your background shows who you are. I don't really have those things. I've always wanted them, but I also feel at the rate that I buy games, I can't. If I buy how many collector's editions am I gonna buy a year? It'd be nuts.
It's brutal. It's brutal. Then even the Steam Deck has been an undertaking as well because like it's so convenient.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like I really, even though I double dipped on Gotham Knights anyway, um, it was a relief that they came out with a PC collector's edition because then it was now I'm double dipping on games a little bit more
Right.
than I normally would because I do want to play them on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
But having the option to play them on the go is something you can't pass up. And it's one of those things where it's like most of my friends are on PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I prefer PC, and having that on the go aspect,
Right.
I get more value out of it on PC. So most of my games now are on PC, but like
Yeah.
there are certain ones that I will definitely double dip for.
Yeah. Yeah, the Steam. I kind of want it, and my wife asked me because my wife's removed. She likes certain games and franchises, but she's removed from like the gaming industry, and she was like, "What's this thing about like the computer handheld?" And I was like, "Oh, the Steam Deck," and she's like, "I want that," and I was like, "Yeah, that's a bit expensive though, and I don't know. Are you gonna use it? We don't really use Steam all that much. We don't have a lot of games on Steam, so." But no, I've always been pretty curious about that because it looks awesome and people, it's become a part of like it's a legitimate thing. When you watch
Yep.
reviews, a thing that people will bring up in reviews is like, will this run on the Steam Deck? Like it's part of the talk now, which is cool.
It's acknowledged. Yep.
Yeah. Because honestly, I didn't really acknowledge it all that. Like I looked, it kind of is like an accessory or like an add-on because the PC would be like the main
PC.
thing, but I never really looked at it all that serious, even when it was like getting close to releasing. And then when it released, I would even say when it released, I never really paid attention to it actually at all. But definitely back then, I was like, oh, what is this thing? But it's like, oh no, it's a legitimate, like you have to kind of pay attention to it. And probably one day
Yeah.
I'll get, and it probably because isn't there like there's like a Logitech G Cloud or something, right? There's another, and that one's
Yep.
more like
There.
streaming.
Yep.
So there's a couple other ones. Like we're gonna enter the era where you'll have a couple to choose from. And I'm sure
Yep.
people will eventually start to, just like not like the Switch. The Switch will always be unparalleled. But God,
Yes.
do they need to make a second one?
They
You
do.
see all the talk
I
about
know
that of
Nintendo.
like that's also
Hmm.
becoming a thing. All these end of the year kind of recaps of the year. A lot of people going after Nintendo saying, "Hey, games are great, but like this was a horrible year. Like you need because like the games aren't you're limiting them. Like you need to make the next console."
And that's the thing with Nintendo is, I think the Wii U was the only year where I think that they kind of doubled down on what they did before with the Wii.
Yeah,
They like to get very innovative
yeah.
with their consoles. So I think that it should be a Switch 2.
Yeah.
But that's my concern is that they won't do a Switch 2. Which is
I,
fine if whatever they put out is great,
I
but
I think
like
they have to because I think
yeah,
they got away from it and now they've realized it again that like the idea of a handheld mixed with a console is your golden ticket. And
yes.
nobody can do it better than them with the Switch.
No.
So to try to like I mean it would show innovation or whatever. It would show maybe they don't want to do the same thing twice, but like you kind of have to because it is what makes it special. If you just do a console that needs to be docked, you have lost, and that's what the Wii
A
U
lot of
like.
people.
It's actually kind of crazy to think about how Nintendo went from the biggest with the Wii to a
Yep.
laughing stock with the Wii U to now also the
Hmm.
biggest. I mean, people don't really talk about them that much, but like the Switch is going to outsell the PS4, Xbox One, PS5 series.
Hmm.
Like it's going to outsell all of them, and to some it already has. Like
It took out the PS2, I think,
yeah,
for the
yeah.
leading.
I mean,
Yep.
it's absolutely insane, and and in some way, just like maybe like a Mario Kart thing, I can understand from their point of view. It's like, well, why would we make a second one? We're still making money on the first. But eventually, you have to realize because that's like their Mario Kart formula. Well, why make Mario
Yep.
Kart 9 when 8 sold 50 million units? Why would we want to split the player base? Which is a fair, I get that. But you should still do 9, by the way. But for
Yep.
the console is different because the console is aging much quicker than Mario
Yep.
Kart is. You have to move on.
It's one of those things with Nintendo where they're when people talk about like the console wars, which is a cringy topic in
It's the
itself,
worst.
kind of, um,
They leave out the
they'll
winner. They actually leave
they
out the
leave
one
out the
who's
winner.
winning.
Yeah, and that's why I say like it's even Mario Kart is probably not Mario Kart, but like Mario in general is probably like in my opinion, the way I look at it is probably the greatest game of all time for
Yeah.
the simple fact that it has casual appeal, it has diehard gaming appeal. Everybody's played it,
Yep.
everyone knows what it is. It does have replay value. It it probably looking at it like it probably
It
is a
started
Nintendo.
different genres, like in
Hmm.
side scroll, like lots of different stuff. Like it's an
And
icon.
Nintendo, yep, it is. It truly is. And Nintendo, their theme is making underpowered systems like with like last gen tech
Yeah,
for
yeah.
their next gen. So Nintendo lives in this own different world. But like you said, like it's nobody talks about the winner.
Yeah. They do, and I love all three,
Yeah,
and I don't try to insert, because the console war stuff, it can get very very messy, but I do
very
I
messy.
do like to kind of just sometimes throw it out. I know I've tweeted it before where it's like it's just really funny. Not that I want to declare a winner because then maybe that looks a certain way, but it's like
Yep.
it's always PlayStation versus Xbox, but like the Switch is you could have subjective opinions. I don't think the Switch, like for me, I prefer console, like always docked. All that, so I'm not gonna say I like the Switch more, but the Switch is the winner. It just is. Sorry,
It is.
and you can't take
Numbers don't
away.
lie.
And it's even what I was saying for the Game Awards. I never thought Hogwarts Legacy stood a chance because of Legend of Zelda. I said that,
Yep.
and people were saying, "Well, Alex, I don't." Nope, I'm telling you, Legend of Zelda is gonna win. And what happened? It won. And what happened with
That,
Hogwarts? It won PlayStations when it wasn't up against Zelda. People forget
yep.
how big Zelda, Mario, these games are enormous. And they sleep on
And
them because it's a different
they sleep
audience. It
on them.
really is a different audience. But when Legend of Zelda comes out next year in May and it's top 3 selling game of the year, I'm not going to be shocked at all,
No.
But some
Wouldn't be
people will.
shocked if it was the first.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm trying to is COD releasing a game? I guess that's the question. And I think is it been
Yeah.
confirmed? I don't know because it's always like a rumor. Like, are they doing DLC to Modern Warfare 2? Hogwarts, I think, would be in like a top 5. Legend of
Yep.
Zelda. If there's no COD, then I do think Zelda
It's
would be.
Zelda.
I think Zelda would be number one. I can't really. It would be more than Survivor. We'll have to do a video specifically on just how much Legend of Zelda is going to clean up next year. But
I want to know if it's going to repeat though. Can it win Game of the Year again? Because next year's
I
stacked.
think so.
Can it win?
Again, I mean that's just the. I'm not saying you're underestimating it. I'm just saying that it's gonna. It just tends to be what happens. It's gonna
It's
come
my
out
eyes-on favorite to win, like
even.
out of all the ones that we know of.
Yeah. Even though like I'm not even the biggest fan of Breath of the Wild. Like I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually even play it all that much. I want to kind of go back and play it like all the way before this one. I'm not even a massive Zelda fan in general. And you will have the people, because there's the whole thing of like, does Nintendo get like 1 to 2 extra points just because it's a Nintendo game? I think to a degree, Nintendo does get a little favoritism from reviews, but I do think Zelda's going to be, a 9, 10 out of 10 kind of game, sell 20, 25 million, in the first year. It's going to be nuts. And I feel
Breath of the
sorry
Wild,
I
really
feel
loved
sorry.
it.
Oh, what's the other? I don't know what else comes out. Well, Suicide Squad comes out, I think, 2 weeks after it. So pray for them. Diablo's
It's in May,
June.
right?
What?
It's in May, right?
Yeah, May
Zelda.
12th is Zelda, and then the
Street
26th
Fighter in
is
June.
Street Fighter's in June. That's the one that comes out. Yep. And there's another one in June as well. There's like 3 big ones in June. I can't remember the other one. But yeah, Zelda's gonna clean. But they are different audiences. Like just because Zelda is out there selling 25 doesn't mean Suicide Squad's gonna get destroyed. But it will sell. Like,
oh man, it might break records for Nintendo because Splatoon just did.
Yeah. I love Splatoon 3 is really good. Just to throw that in there. So we've been going a while, but to end it off, I know you had mentioned on Twitter about these holiday updates. So you got any news to report or any experiences you've been doing?
Halo actually does have a holiday update. They've had a holiday update all December, but they just came out with a free 10-tier battle pass, and it's all like Christmas cosmetics is free.
Nice.
And I think like you get like a candy cane visor, a Santa hat. I bought the pack for like $5 to get the reindeer antlers and those and the candy cane chest piece. But there is a 10-tier thing. You get 10 free items just for completing the challenges. Very fun. And then Animal Crossing also has this Christmas update.
Yes.
I actually did that this morning, and my islanders were bundled up, Christmas trees everywhere, all over the island. Like it's snowman, you can build them. It was a very fun time. I'm pretty sure Fall Guys is also having some holiday theme thing, but there's Christmas and gaming a
Yes,
lot of places
just
right
like we
now.
said. I mean, well, it's a maybe they listened and they understand it a little. You would think, and I'm sure it does happen more. We just don't talk about it because it's not really our genre of games. But there's got to be a lot of
Right.
those live service games that do holiday
They'd be
things
stupid
around
not
this
to.
time. It's just we're not really like I don't know. Does Fortnite? I assume so. I
I
assume,
assume so. Yeah, Fortnite is something I don't venture down.
yeah. It's Fortnite, Apex. Like you imagine a lot of these free to play. Anything that lasts. World of Tanks did the did a Christmas theme kind of thing. I know that because of ads. So yeah, it's a good middle of the road thing.
Does it ever get you how I don't want to say influential, but like, does it seem like Fortnite just like restarted the timeline and everything began at Fortnite? Like,
Yeah,
do you
I
like? Yeah, Fortnite invented everything. It
for
invented Master Chief. It invented.
which no, I look at that as a big negative. I've always been pretty like
Yeah,
the
same.
I don't want to get political, so I won't. But like the Martin Luther King speech thing that they did, like a lot of the stuff they do is jokes, absolute jokes, and I can't imagine kids because I mean you got to be realistic. You know who plays these games.
Hmm.
Kids learning about MLK through Fortnite, it is the worst thing I could ever imagine. That you're watching
It.
because you see what people do, as like the avatars during like the speech and stuff, and
Yep.
I don't know, I've never liked
Your
it, but
your
it did
brain went
restart,
like disaster that way
yeah,
because you
but
know players are gonna do some wild stuff.
it's very
You know
wild,
it.
but yeah, no, I've always been very hard on. I mean, I get it, I get the appeal. I'm not ignorant to the fact of like how gigantic of a game it is, but I've said this I think controversially before. I think Fortnite is the worst thing to ever happen to gaming
I would agree
because
with
it
that.
ushered in the era of free to play live service games. And
Hmm.
I think
And
it did happen before it, but Fortnite, like you said, once Fortnite happened, you kind of forget about everything that happened before it because it's just Fortnite on. And Fortnite's to
I
blame
was
for that.
It is. And like the fact that like what really got me was I have a little cousin. He's got to be about maybe 5 or 6. He came over and it was last year and he looked at my Halo my Master Chief cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
He said it's the guy from Fortnite. I was like, "Oh my god." But he's only 5, so I'm like I got to let him live. But I'm like it's amazing. Even like when Nightwing with the glider, he's had a glider in the comics, but it was the Fortnite glider for a lot of people. And I get like they were using it as an insult, but it's just like Fortnite legitimately for a lot of people like for the worst invented a lot of things that it did not invent.
And the
There were a
question
lot
is
of
like,
these
do
things.
they? And I guess we don't know. Like, does it bring people? I think in some regards it has to. Otherwise, these companies wouldn't do it. It has to bring them into the original, right? So you see Master Chief
Hmm.
in Fortnite. You gotta assume Microsoft does that so that people check out Halo. But at what cost? At what cost?
Yeah,
Because
I
you're
would.
fueling Fortnite, and you're also bringing in this group that I don't know if they're ready for Halo, or the group that I want to play Halo, and you're bringing them into Halo. And
Yep,
gatekeeping is a tough topic, but if you're
it
bringing in
needs to be
7
done.
to 8-year-old children or whatever that think Master Chief is one way, and the issue also, like, again, politically or not, like, when you get older, your beliefs are shaped by the past. So then, like, are you going to start demanding things in Halo based off of because you thought it came from
We played
Fortnite?
them in Fortnite.
Because that
Yeah,
is not the kind of fandom I want to see in 10 years. And that's a huge
no,
wave of children when they become teens and older. You're going to get in 10 years from now for all these franchises. I mean, it's something worth definitely talking about. To me, it's definitely the more live service, loot box, that aspect of it. That is what I absolutely think Fortnite is the worst thing in the world for. I actually played Fortnite when it first came out, and it was the wave
same.
thing. When it was the wave, remember how you just had to like defend the thing and build all the
Hmm.
trap? That's what I played it for. Because that's what Fortnite actually was originally.
Was
And then it had the multiplayer. But it's actually kind of nuts how it where they're like, well, that was the main draw, but people don't like it, and people are playing this other thing, so we're gonna just make that the biggest thing in the entire planet. Odd.
It's just crazy how it took over. Like it felt like out of nowhere, and the fact that it's still going is
Yeah.
what's getting me.
Still going and growing. They put more money
Yeah.
into it. Epic, Unreal Engine, Sony invests in them. Like it literally doesn't stop. And you can argue, does Sony get the idea of live service? So like when Sony does their 10 live service games that people are iffy on, and say a lot of them are bad, do we do we blame retroactively? Do we blame Fortnite? Because they got the idea from somewhere to do it.
Fortnite is always patient zero to me.
Yeah.
So it will always be Fortnite's fault.
Yeah.
The only like genre I think should be doing games as a service is sports games, because
Yes,
there's
we
no
talked about
reason
that,
to pay full price for a roster update. But other than that, and fighting games,
yeah.
I would lean that way for fighting games as well. But they already do that. They've done that for years pretty much.
Yeah.
But other than that, like no, like there's no genre that should be doing it, and every time they do it, it's Fortnite's fault.
Yeah. Yeah. One last thing I'll say, and then we'll end it. Sometimes I'll go back on like Wikipedia and look at games that released in a certain year, and it's nuts to see if you actually do that, how big the industry. Like we know the gaming industry is bigger than movies and music and all that stuff. That's like a stat, but when you look at like games that released in a year, it doesn't actually get nuts until like the last like 6 or so years. Like you can actually see it in real time, like just through your eyes on Wikipedia, because like if you go to like just type in, for anybody, like type in like games that released in 2006, and the list is very small, very small. But then like look at the list of like 2018, and it's like there's just all of this, a lot of it garbage. There's just so much that's coming out. And with Steam, it doesn't even really keep track of like the 5,000 Steam games they release every month. And when you look at it through that angle, I do get worried, and it's not even because I'm like so negative about everything, but you think about any industry or anything just in life, like when it starts to get so big so fast, there's just a lot of trash in there. Like you're not growing it. Like this is all quality, and then when you get to this is not all quality. It's a lot of filler in there too. And it is a bit scary because it's not slowing down. And now it's getting more like evil, I would argue, in some sense, for some of these things. Like I do think there's going to be a point where the gaming industry hits that. Then it could be a recession. A lot of people lose their jobs, but it's not going to keep going up. There is going to be some sort of crash. I'm not saying we need to go back down to like 3 games a month, but like when we get like, and if you count Steam, I mean, it could be like 700 games a month, but even like 20 games a month, that's probably too much. It just
too
is.
Much. And everybody can't make money off of releasing at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of, I know a lot of people, because everybody wants to be considered on the same level, but standards and quality, I believe, are 2 things that need to be gatekept, because when they're not, that's normally when you see any industry, business, IP go take a tank down. Newcomers, I mean, I would just like to go back to the time where newcomers embrace being a newcomer and try to learn what it is that they're getting into versus try to mold what they're getting into to their liking.
Yes.
So that way, because it's no longer what it was that made it popular. And that's kind of what I would like to see. And that's why I say like quality should always be gatekept at all costs. Like gatekeeping is a good thing as long as you don't use it to try to prevent somebody from getting into something, but nor should the person getting into something try to mold or say hey, they should make
that's a really good way of saying it. Yeah, you're protecting.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that. Really, that is what gatekeeping should be. You're protecting the quality of the thing. You don't want, even if it's something that you massively disagree with, let them in. I mean, let them experience what you love. Maybe they'll change. But, if they want to bring in their ideas and try to change it to them, well, then you're not and people will say, oh, you shouldn't gatekeep. Well, it's not even, I mean, take the word out. The word has like a negative connotation. You're just trying to protect the thing that's
The
good,
quality.
and you don't want to
Yeah.
change it into something that's not what it actually is. It makes no sense to even allow that to happen, because
Yeah.
otherwise it's just, it's literally a wild west that anything can be passed around. I think Star Wars has faced this pretty big time in the
Marvel.
IP. Marvel is now facing it in the last like 3 years. It's what's happening. And gaming is always the last thing because it's the most hardcore, younger, but also people that like generally don't care about like the news and the media, and like they're not going to get influenced as much as other people are. It's the last thing. But you see it.
And it's happening in the gaming right
Oh
now
yeah,
with
it
games in the
is.
service.
It always just happens slowest, and it takes the
Yep.
longest to kind of infiltrate. But it will happen, and it already is
Yep.
happening. And it is why I've said it a couple times before. Like, we are in some ways in this like golden age of gaming, but it's not gonna last. And there is definitely warning signs that it's not a perfect. This is not a perfect era. It is a really good era, but it's not perfect.
No, and it's a lot of room to crash, and that's why I say like people with IPs. I mean, you look at something like Saints Row, even like
Yes.
that's what happens when you don't guard the quality of the game.
Yeah.
Like, and it's okay to modernize things as long as you keep them intact. It's okay to, like, for example, if you're doing a comic book movie, if you want to modernize by like making sure civilians has phones and making the technology
Yeah.
the technology of the day, but do not change the essence of
Yeah.
the character and what it represents. And that's why I said like gatekeeping quality. A lot of people confuse wanting creativity for gatekeeping or try to keep them out or being toxic, and it's not. It's just we want this to be kept to a certain standard,
Yes.
and we don't want to keep anybody out, but just respectfully kind of wipe your feet at the door when you come
Yeah.
in.
Well, and it goes
And
back
that's
even to one of the almost full circle to what we said. Like, it's if you just keep it good and you keep it at a high quality, people come in and they either like it or they don't, but
they
that's
don't.
okay because
Mm-hmm.
there will be a game for them. And that
Yeah,
literally goes back to one of the first things you said.
that's the
But if
point
you
of
make
genres.
one, yeah, if you make one game for everybody, it like you said, I mean, it's not going to be for many people at all. But now if you have a huge selection of games and you say, come on, we have very high standards here. They come in, they say, this isn't for me. Well, okay. Well, instead of demanding you change it, maybe just go, because there definitely will be something else out there for you. And it gets a little messy because then, of course, you can talk about, like, well, where does criticism come in? Where does, like,
Mm-hmm.
fixing, if there are wrongs with the franchise or whatever, because then you could, I'm not saying we are, actually, I think we're pretty open, but then you could go into, well, say you have a problem with Star Wars of 20 years ago. Well, what do you do? Do you say, well, it's not for you, get lost, you can't criticize? And then that goes into that kind of gray area. It's tough. It's a
Yeah.
tough thing. But good talk, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying like, yeah, I think there's a level. There's levels to anything, and I say that there's a level to fandom. So it's like for things like that with Star Wars and things like that, for people that it depends on how new to the franchise or IP that you are.
Yeah.
Because I am one of those people where it's like I believe that everyone's opinion is valid, but how much validity is in that opinion
Yeah.
literally depends on how long you've probably been a fan for. And that's kind of how I take it. It's just like, some people will have their opinions and then like, oh, how long have you been a fan for? And they're like, so you may not, and it's not even a thing. It's just like maybe you weren't there to see how that felt. Like it's kind of like the prequels and the
Yeah.
sequels for a lot of people. Well, the prequels and the originals. For a lot of people, for Star Wars fans, people who like the originals did not like the prequels.
Yeah.
But one thing that both can agree on, they don't like the
Yeah.
sequels.
Yeah.
And so most people that like the sequels are probably newer Star Wars fans. And they're like, well, what's wrong with it? Well,
Yeah.
you had to be
Just
there.
look back, please. There's plenty. Well, we wanted, and by the way, we never said this in the beginning, so to anybody who made it this far, this video goes up on Christmas Eve. So happy Christmas Eve and Merry Christmas tomorrow, and we will be back next week for New Year's Eve. We got a lot of plans, and this was episode 3. We want to start to do guests and stuff. I really got to start saying this in the beginning of the video because at the hour mark, I don't know how many people are still here. But great talk again, man. Thank you so much for being here. Any like I said, Merry Christmas to them. But any final thoughts you want to say?
If you've made it to this point in the video, thank
Merry
you so
Christmas.
much. Hit a like, comment.
Yes.
Always appreciate having you here. Hope you all have a great holiday. Alex, you have a great
Yes,
holiday
you
as well.
too. We're both being very festive, just in different ways. You got the sweet sweater. I got the tree. I said I really like it. He said it's an ugly Christmas sweater. I think it looks great, personally.
Yeah.
I got to light this tree up, honestly, for these kind of videos, especially at this time of year. Thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, we will be back next week. I got a lot of things planned with guests and all that stuff going forward. And Merry Christmas once again. We'll see you all on the next one.